tell you what, I'm absolutely delighted this week is over. It has not been a good week. Started off a good week on the Monday. My first job, that went quite well. Come the Tuesday, everything changed. For Tuesday, nearly was one less ex-JW on the community. If it wasn't for the fact that I got to the electrical switch and turned it off, I think I'd have been fried. So I got a 240 electric shock. I was adjusting the pressure switch, and I was doing it live using the what we call a 5.5 nut spinner, and it helps you to adjust the pressure switch while it's still live. You have to be experienced to do it, and I've done this particular thing hundreds of times, never had a problem. But because this day turned into a 16-hour day, I got complacent. I took my eye off the game, my eye off the prize. I was so insistent on fixing this problem for this particular site that I did it all live. So that's like 240 volts that are right next to where I was adjusting. But my eyes got a bit blurry, and when I was guiding my special insulated tool to the adjustment screw, I missed by 3 mil, and I hit the live wire, and it fused my 5.5 nut spinner, fused it right into the switch. Of course, I had to get the health and safety and the electricians and the site involved because it was an incident. But I was thinking, as I was getting shocked, I was thinking, well, this could be it. That's that tingling sensation, and you know what it is, don't you, when you've been electrical shocked. A 240 volts, it's an absolutely awful sensation when it just shoots up your arm. If you're earthed, you know, it's obviously going to travel to the vital parts of the body and do damage if it's sustained. It wasn't sustained, because as soon as it happened, within 1 second, I was straight over to the controller isolator and I knocked it off. So I didn't get a sustained electrical shock. I just got, I think it was round about a second of 240. But I started thinking about my past life. I don't know what it is, but when you get like a close shave with a severe accident that could have led to perhaps death, you start thinking about your past. You start thinking about all the people that you've hurt in life, maybe ex-girlfriends, and maybe, you know, just normal people on the streets that you've just not said nice things to, and you've upset them. And if I was to make a list, I'd have a big list. You know, I think I have upset quite a lot of people in my time. I've upset a lot of girlfriends. I've said the wrong thing to them. I've not thought about what I was going to say. I've just come right out with it, and there it is, impacting on their feelings. And then I've realised afterwards, oh, why did I have to say it that way? Could I not have put it another way? And I've had to learn tact and diplomacy since I got into my 40s. I just didn't have that when I was 18, 19, 20. I didn't even have it up to my sort of late 30s. I was still aloof and sort of arrogant and a bit brash at times. But I've had to learn. I think there's a word for it, isn't there? When you get a bit older, I think they call it mellowing. A person mellows. They're not exactly the same person as they were, say, 20 years previous. And I think it's important sometimes that if we've got really, really bad personality traits, and all we ever do is just rub people up the wrong way and annoy people, I think the sooner we recognise that we need to change, then we must change. We can't stay the way we were, or I couldn't stay the way I was when I used to go knocking on the doors, when I used to think that I was something special, when really I was absolutely nothing special. It took me many, many years to realise that the best and most honourable people in the world in this world, and the ones that we should be looking up to, are the ones that show true humility. The humility, quality of what really Jesus showed, not the pseudo humility that we see from some of the religious leaders. You know, if the cameras are on, there may be a token humble act while the camera's rolling. Whereas we didn't get that with Jesus, did we? It was completely genuine humility. If he washed the feet of the disciples, it was because he wanted to. He wanted to show them the way first, set the example. And we don't always get that. We don't always get our leaders showing us by example. Sometimes they're very good at just telling you what to do, dictating terms, but not actually getting off their arses and saying, this is how it's supposed to be done. Follow this example. It's easy to tell someone, isn't it? If you sat in an ivory tower, and it's very easy for you to then to say, this is the way I want it to be done from here on, and you will do it this way. But it's much, much better to get up and to give them a first-hand example. And sometimes I so wish that that governing body would have give first-hand examples instead of just picking up literature and scriptures and saying, this is how you have to behave. Or rather of them just stood up like a proper soldier and said, you know, this is the example I want you to follow, and then create that example. And that's just my train of thought today. Very briefly, I'm happy to be alive. I'm happy to still be on the XJW community as a truth seeker, and I'm happy to have changed from my aloof and arrogant younger ways into a more rounded out person who likes to listen to what people have to say and doesn't always want to do all the talking. Yes, I've learnt, and it's not been easy, but I've learnt that you have to change. You just have to. And you're a better person because of it. So, have a good weekend, everybody. And I will have an early night, have a couple of beers, and praise life. Life for living. Well, what's left of it, until the conclusion of the system of things. There I go again, dropping the conversation down to the end times. Just can't help it, can I? It's always there, the back of my mind. See y'all anyway.